In this head-to-head brought to you by Club 4x4, we've got a battle of the mid-specs. We have the HiLux SR5, easily the best selling in this category, and the kinda new kid on the block, the Navara STX. Now these are aimed at value and fleet buyers. So let's get into it. You get a couple more features in the Navara. You get leather accented seats, you get a driver's power assisted seat. If you want the same in the Lux, you've got to ask for the comfort pack. Now they're about 68, 66 grand, give or take for either of these drive away at the moment. You also get a tub liner in the Navara, which you don't get in the HiLux. Now in terms of critical specs, they can both haul over a tonne or take more than a tonne of payload. They can both tow 3.5 tonne and both have decent GCMs. So if you are towing big, you can still carry a bit of payload. Under the bonnet of the HiLux, 2.8 litre turbo diesel, 150 kilowatt, 500 newton meters, same engine you'll find in almost every other Toyota at the moment. It is a mild hybrid 48 volt system, 6-speed automatic, locking diff in the back. Under the bonnet of the Nissan, 2.4 litre, 150 kilowatt, but only 470 newton meters, 6-speed auto, locking rear diff. Now the difference is in this one, it has a few more modes in it, and it has a all-wheel drive option. All right, gravel road driving. I'm in 4H. Now you might assume that's 4 high, but this is actually more like a 4 auto. So torsion differential in the center allows a little bit of power to be pushed to the front when the rear starts slipping, which on a gravel road I think is the best mode to use. Now you can put it in 4 high and drive it, and that'll just make it 50-50 power split front to rear. The negative of that is you get a bit of push in corners, a bit of understeer. All right, how does it feel on a gravel road? This feels good. It feels lighter and more nimble than the outgoing D23. I loved the Pro 4X Warrior. I thought as a complete package that was easily one of the best built, factory built vehicles out there. This feels simpler in a sense. This feels lighter, more nimble, it feels tight in the chassis. Doesn't feel complicated or heavy, which is quite a nice thing. Comfort-wise, these seats are exceptional. The thickness in the padding and the seat bolster is just really nice. It does feel a little bit plasticky though. I know it's hard, and I often question myself when I talk about utes and say, oh, you know, it's a bit too plasticky. These aren't meant to be utes, right? Utilitarians. Got to carry a tonne, it's got to tow 3.5 tonne. It's got to be easy to keep clean. Well, this will definitely be easy to keep clean because almost every surface is just straight plastic. So Premcar has done a bit of work on the suspension tuning for this vehicle, and I feel like they've done a pretty good job. It doesn't feel fussed at speed, it doesn't bounce around too much. It feels very planted, but it still feels light. And it's quite hard to get a vehicle to feel nimble and not feel sort of shaky and scuddery at the same time. But this feels like a well-established, well-designed ute, which is what you'd expect Nissan to get their hands on. All right, time to jump in the HiLux. Right, so into the HiLux on a gravel road, just like you're going to a campsite somewhere. I've got it in 4 high because we don't have 4 auto in the HiLux. It feels great. I've got such a nice tight chassis. The suspension works really well. It's not floaty. They're just a really nice vehicle to drive along on a dirt road. Anyone who's owned a Toyota knows Toyota build quality. Shut the door and it's probably the best in class. Cabin squeaks and rattles, just there are practically none. Anyone who's owned a HiLux knows that they are probably the best built out of all of the utes in the market. And it goes away to explaining their resale and their popularity. In terms of comfort, dash layout, and the all-important seats, I actually thought the Navara had the best seats I'd been in when I drove it before. But these HiLux seats in the SR5 cloth are actually really good as well. Maybe not as deep in the bolster as the Navara, but they hold you nicely, and they're super comfy. And I love cloth on a long day, long drive. You don't get as sweaty as you do with leather. Other important interior features, of course it's got CarPlay, of course it's got a big screen, it's easy to use. It's got a volume knob, or a volume button I should say, on the screen, which is a nice touch. A few cars miss that. First obstacle of the day is wombat holes, our old favourite. Now we test on the same tracks, in the same ways, to try and get you guys consistent results. So as per normal, I'm just in 4 low. I don't have the diff locked. I'll lock it if I need it. I don't have any modes on. I'm just in 4 low. Need traction control straight away. Got there. More. All right, well, first thing I can say is that the Navara's gonna get there by the feel of it, but it's working hard. Using a lot of throttle, getting a lot of wheel spin, getting the front up quite high. Come on, there we go. Wow, okay. First impressions, first run. Actually, it got there. I did expect it to. Everything makes it through the wombat holes in low these days with the traction control systems, but the Navara's traction control system was working harder than I expected. Sort of slow to react is probably the way to describe it, but we got through it. Just a bit more throttle input than I thought I'd need. Definitely more wheel speed than I thought I needed. We'll go down and see how she goes. Now this is going to test articulation coming back through and a bit of clearance. Yep, there's a side step straight away. And here we'll drop in. Oh, yep, okay, slid across the track a little. That's all right. Yeah. It is flexing a lot, actually quite well. Better than a lot of other utes in the marketplace. I expect the HiLux will flex better, but Triton first run through the wombats did remarkably well. Just a little bit iffy on the traction control compared to some of its competitors. It just felt like it was working harder than it should have been. All right, into the HiLux. All right, so wombat holes, HiLux time, just in 4 not using MTS, not using the diff lock, shouldn't need to. HiLux has got the best calibrated traction control in the market. These holes are deeper than they've been in years past. We're definitely using all of that articulation. Yeah, piece of piss. Yeah, it's a walk in the park. I have to go find something harder. Bonus content. Right, going down the wombats in the HiLux. This really shows off the amount of flexibility in the rear suspension of the SR5, but at the same time, just how tight this track can get and how gnarly it is to drive. Yeah, just grazing the mirror. Woo! Right, so the mods we'd make, the obvious ones, they both come on road-centric tyres, they've got to go. The HiLux could really do with some higher offset wheels just to help it in the tight tracks, and both need some bar works and protection, especially underneath and side steps. Right, if you're a fleet buyer, this next bit's going to matter to you, warranty and servicing. The Navara trumps it quite comfortably in up to 10-year warranty and 15,000K or 12-month servicing, whereas the HiLux is stuck in the past with 6-month or 10,000K servicing. Right, let's go drive them some more and then wrap it up. All right, back in the Navara, the HiLux made that a lot easier. So I know this next bit of an obstacle is going to be hard on the Navara, so I'm going to put the diff lock on straight away. All right, this is a lot steeper. This tests articulation and traction more than the wombat holes do. But now that I've got the diff locked, I should be able to walk straight up. Yeah, we touched the bottom there a little bit, but that's all right. Yeah, there we go, easy. I'm actually going to go do that again without the diff lock because that felt a lot easier than the wombat holes. All right, run 2. No diff lock this time because it was far too easy with the diff lock. Let's see how we go. Oh yeah, that's not great. I'm not sure if I got that on camera, but we just rolled back about 1.5 meters when we broke traction. And again there, oh, well, it's a good lesson on why diff locks are so important. We're going to get there. No, diff lock on. Diff lock not available when I need it. Come on. All right, yeah, that's just silly. Cannot put the diff lock in when I'm rolling up a hill when I need it. All right, now diff locked in, we can crawl up this bank. Now this is why I tell people slow and steady is better than hard and fast, because you just keep traction and put all the modes on, use the traction, and you'll make it up a bank much better than I did. I made a real fuss out of that by trying that without the diff lock on. All in all, that was quite silly, but I wanted to try it. That's what we're here for. All right, into the HiLux. There we go, 4 low. Right, second obstacle for the HiLux. The Navara made hard work of this. Not being able to engage that locker when I needed it was honestly, I'm going to say it, unsafe. I rolled back a lot on this track and I did not like it at all. And here's the difference. I haven't even put the locker in the HiLux and I'm straight through it. No questions asked. Yeah, these things are seriously capable off-road out of the box. I'm going to go again with the diff lock on and just making it look even easier. One press of the button and the rear diff lock is engaged. Now this walked up here without the diff lock engaged and it is going to do it so much easier. Absolute walk park. Right, so the Navara, it's a fine ute, and if you're a fleet buyer, it's possibly the better buy because it's a couple of grand cheaper, it's got a longer warranty, better service intervals, but here's the reality. There is no stopping a HiLux SR5 in the mid-spec ute. It is by far and away still the best. Now, if you don't agree with me, tell me below. Otherwise, at least give me a like and subscribe for all the effort we put into this.